All right, so today's class is all about the iliopsoas, which is considered a primary postural muscle. So it's one of those muscles that's really important for us being bipedal animals and standing upright on 2 feet. The iliopsoas connects up to the spine, like around where the base of the rib cage is. It's in the thoracic region. And then it's unique in that it crosses diagonally across the torso and kind of wraps into the deep but the front of the hip joint, ultimately connecting underneath. So it's a big hip flexor. So as the muscle shortens or contracts, it'll flex the hip. But also, as I said, it's important for standing up. There's also a really interesting connection with the iliopsoas and the diaphragm, because the diaphragm is lining that under part of your rib cage. So that connective tissue is connected. So in our class today, we're going to work on a little bit of diaphragm opening, some hip mobility, range of motion in the hip, and of course, having a nice, strong, supple iliopsoas relies on a neutral pelvis. So nothing new there if you've been to my other classes. Just one little anecdote. I've been mentioning recently my dance background, and when I was in college, we had a dance PT associated with our department. And I remember she was talking to us about extension, meaning like when you lift your leg, and that classic ballerina image of having a really high extended leg up in the air. And she just pointed out to us, like, we were all trying to stretch our hamstrings a lot, really get like lengthened back of the leg. And one day she told us, she's like, it has nothing to do with the flexibility. It has everything to do with your strength and ability to flex at your hip and hold it there. And that was kind of like a wow moment to me, that sometimes we can be so focused on this external goal that we aren't even aware of what the process calls for. So I challenge you today to kind of live in the moment of the process and not be too attached to our, any final postural goal or image that you want to be working towards. So with that, let's get started. We'll be on our backs, and I will be walking towards the camera soon to walk the Zoom room. But in the meantime, feet are on the floor, knees up to the ceiling. And we're going to practice a diaphragm release here. It's a little unique. We haven't done this before. So you can bring the hands to the front of the top of the thighs. You can watch this first round. I think that might be easier. So I'm going to take a big inhale, really feel everything expanding into my rib cage with the hands on the thighs. So big inhale. I exhale all the air out, and then I widen my rib cage. Sorry, I can't talk as I do it because I need no air, but essentially you exhale all the air out and then widen your rib cage, and it like pulls your abdominals up into the diaphragm, and you start to get some release. So let's try that together. Hands on the thighs. We take a big inhale, fill up that thoracic cavity. Exhale, let all that go, and then widen the rib cage. You'll feel things. It doesn't need to, don't think about how it looks, but it's about the feeling of pulling up into the diaphragm. And when you can't hold that anymore and you're ready for air, just inhale. Don't make it painful. So inhale, fill it up. Exhale, and widen those ribs. Feel the abdominals pull up into that diaphragm region. And inhale, release when you're ready. Exhale all the air out. We'll do 2 more. Widen the rib cage. It kind of creates this hollowing feeling in the abdominals. I'm not a great example because I'm talking. Inhale. Exhale, let it go. And widen the rib cage. This is in yoga, we refer to this as an Uddiyana Bandha. It's like a lock, an energetic lock. And release that. And bring the palms to the floor. We'll lengthen the tailbone, squeeze the glutes, heading straight to our low bridge here. Remembering if at any point the knees feel junky, you can always walk the feet away. And let's immediately bring the hands to the top of the thigh, where the thigh meets the pelvis at the hip, and just add a pulse of the pelvis squeezing the glutes for further extension. Now, as I said, the iliopsoas is a big hip flexor. So we will have some moments of kind of intense hip flexion today, but I'm really going to try over the course of the class to balance that with hip extension so that we don't get kind of cramped and brutalized in the hip, but we get kind of a newfound security there. So you can keep that pulse going or stop at the top, press the palms up to the ceiling, and then pull back on the right fingers with the left hand. We're opening up that wrist. Oh, this feels so good today. If you've been working on computers, hopefully you feel some relief too. And then we'll switch, pressing left palm up to the ceiling, pull back on the right hands. I'm sorry, on the left hand with the right hand. The opposite way. It's too early in class for me to be making these mistakes already. And then we'll let the hand go, lower the pelvis sequentially through the spine, lowering thoracic, lumbar, and then letting the pelvis land. Then take a little wiggle with the knees. Heading straight to our, actually, I'm gonna lock the Zoom room and then we'll do our abs. So just one moment, you can keep toggling those knees. All right. Abdominals today, we'll have the legs up in the air, knees extended to some degree. Of course, if that doesn't feel good, you keep those feet on the floor. Take a big inhale. Exhale, push all the air out and lift the head and shoulder blades. And imagine that region where the diaphragm and the iliopsoas connect to the spine. Imagine that pulling into the floor by pulling the front of the ribs down. Inhale, lower. Exhale, head and shoulders lift. Pull that really specific kind of mid-back region down, and we'll add a twist to the left. Twisting from the center. Option here, if you want a little extra, flare those elbows out to the side. Don't let the shoulder blades lower. Back to center, inhale, lower. Exhale, head and shoulders lift. Pulling off those shoulder blades, twisting to the right. Optional flare of the elbows. Oh, feel those obliques wake up. Back to center, inhale, lower. Adding on again, these are all options. Exhale, head and shoulder blades lift. We add our twist to the left. Optional flare of the elbow. The option to lower the right leg to about, 30 degrees or so. And we'll do 3 pulses, imagining right shoulder coming to left knee. So really not using the hands, 2, 3, return to neutral, inhale, lower. We're not using the hands to pull on the head, rather using those upper abdominals. Exhale, head and shoulder blades lift. Twist to the right. Optional flare of the elbows. Option to lower that left leg. If it's too low, you can always pull it back up to keep that low back safe. And we do 3 pulses, left shoulder, right knee. 1, 2, 3, back to neutral, inhale, lower. We'll do 1 more on each side. Exhale, head and shoulders lift. Add your twist to the left. Optional flare of the elbows. Option to lower that right leg. Option to pulse. 1, 2, 3, back to neutral, inhale, lower. Oh, that's really intense. Exhale, head and shoulders lift. Remember, twist to the right. You can take or leave any option. Open those elbows, maybe. Lower that left leg. And here we go. 3, 2, 1. Oh, let it go. Bring those knees towards you. My voice always starts to go at the end there. And we're coming up, but we're staying on our backs. So you'll just lift up. You can bring your hands behind you and we'll actually come down on the forearms. And then let the forearms move out to the side so they're on the diagonal. So your elbows are under the shoulders, the palms are wide. And we do this to get our shoulder in good alignment here. This is gonna come back throughout the flow. Let the right knee open up to a comfortable degree. So keep a neutral pelvis. It doesn't have to be extreme. Really strengthen the trunk here. And then we lift, hover the right leg up and lower, and hover and lower. We're gonna just pulse this up and down. So that story I told you about when I was dancing and the PT said that she had proven that it was a lack of strength instead of flexibility, this was the exercise she used to prove that. She did like an intervention. It was very cool. And we'll lower the right foot back in a neutral position, so neutral hip, and just let the left knee flare out. Really keep the chest open, keep the back out of it, and just from the hip, from those hip flexors, we lift and lower the leg in this shape. If this is feeling like terrible on your shoulders, you can always lift up a bit more with a little crease in the elbows. But we want to keep some weight in this upper body. Pull those low abdominals into the back. And then lower the left foot, and we'll come around onto all fours just for a moment. Heading straight towards our dolphin today, we'll lower the forearms, elbows coming under the shoulders. Big inhale, exhale, push up that area where the iliopsoas, imagine where that's connecting to the spine, mid-back region, puffs up, and inhale, neutralize the spine. So exhale, push, forearms into the floor, really pull the ribs into the back body, and inhale, neutralize. Last time, exhale, push the mat away. If you'd like, tuck the toes, lift into your dolphin. You can walk the feet in a little bit, bend those knees, release the head so that neck is long. Maybe add a few pulses with the heels lifting and lowering. Letting, as you lift those heels, the weight come more into the forearms, into the shoulders, really getting some strength there. Good, and then we'll make our way to stand at the top of the mat so you can lower the knees, shift the weight forward, and come to stand in Tadasana. Let those arms cascade by your side, and we'll get moving a little bit. Inhale, arms reach forward and up. Exhale, hinge at the hips, hands plant. Step the right foot back, lower the knee, top of the foot, inhale, lift. Low lunge here. Take a moment, let's really find neutral pelvis. So bring the hands to either side of the hip. Check in, use the hands to feel what's going on there. Turn that right glute on. Hands plant, step back for plank, maintaining neutral pelvis. Lower the knees and lower to the floor. Inhale, pubic bone roots, cobra. Exhale, lift into down dog. Walk those feet in a touch. Right foot steps forward, left knee lowers, top of the foot, and inhale, rise. Low, half kneel, low lunge. Same thing, hands to pelvis. Get a check in here. Feel the front ribs really drawing into the back body. And plant the hands, left foot steps forward, bent knee forward fold, exhale. Inhale, rise. Exhale, hinge at the hips, hands plant. Left foot steps back, lower the knee, top of the foot, half kneel. Let's bring the arms to goal post this time. 90-degree angles coming out from the shoulders. Really get a sense of neutral in the middle. Take an inhale. Exhale, twist right. And inhale, twist left. Exhale, twist right. And inhale, left. And if you were here last week, as you do these twists, we're really moving from our center line here, not letting the elbows kind of pull us and give the illusion of an extreme range, but just starting to wake up this upper connection region. Hands plant, step back for plank, squeeze those glutes, knees lower, and we lower to the floor. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, down dog, pelvis lifting high, and the left foot steps forward, right knee lowers, top of the foot, inhale, lift, half kneel. Goal post those arms. Elbows in line with the shoulders. Big inhale in neutral here, feel it. And exhale, twist left. Inhale, right. And exhale, and inhale. Exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. Hands plant at the top of the mat, step the right foot in. Exhale, bend those knees. Let the torso fall for a moment, kind of cascading. And then inhale, we'll rise, moving on to Tadasana. You can turn the playlist on now if you are using that today. First sequence here, exhale, hinge at the hips, hands plant. Right foot steps back, lower the knee and the top of the foot. Option here to keep those back toes tucked. It's going to be a little bit more stress on the front of the hip. Not stress, but stretch. So finding that neutral pelvis, arms come on low V, low diagonals with the palms facing back. You can bring a little bend to the elbow and then squeeze the shoulder blades towards the spine, moving those hands back in space. And release, inhale. Exhale, ribs stay solid. Don't let them flare forward. And release. Exhale, squeeze those shoulder blades this time. Interlace the fingers at the sacrum. Feel this chest opening. And then from here, keep the chest open, bring the hands interlaced in front of you, punch them forward and draw that upper back in space. Let the head fall, squeeze that right glute. You'll really feel some stretching in the front of the hip and the upper back. Hands plant, step back, down dog. Take a big inhale here. Exhale, feel that torso lifting away from the mat, almost like you could pull the forearms away from the mat. And we've got our first psoas kind of big activation here. Rising up on the tiptoes, tippy toe those feet in tiny, tiny steps forward as far as you can without lifting the hands, and then tippy toe back. So you don't have to go super far, but be honest about what you feel and about if you can keep neutral pelvis as we do this. So not overly curving in the back. Walking forward. I'm getting that like flash of heat when a move is like really warming you from your deep core. Walking forward. This is the last rep we'll do. Again, it's not about a destination, it's about the feeling. And then step 1 foot forward at a time. Rise to stand at the top of the mat. Hands come to pelvis, abduct to the right leg. So right leg moves out to the right. Inhale. Exhale, right foot comes in, hands slide down. All that air is out. Pull the ribs apart, just like we did on the floor. That vacuum feeling. And inhale, rise. Squeeze the glutes at the top. Right leg out to the side. Inhale. Exhale, squat. Draw the ribs apart. Inhale, rise. Squeeze the glutes. It's a little tougher in standing. Exhale, all the air comes out, hands to thighs. So if you don't feel it, pull those ribs apart. Be gentle with yourself. Last time, inhale, right leg out to the side. Exhale, all the air comes out, hands to thighs, widen those ribs. And we'll slide the right leg back, hands come to floor, standing split. Flexing in this left hip here, feel the hands connecting onto the floor. You can always have something underneath them if you need more lift to keep a straight spine. And then squeeze the right glute and feel the opening in the front of the hip. We'll use that as a tool throughout class to avoid that kind of hip flexor burnout. Weight into the left foot, really press into it. Open up your right side to the right, bent knee, half moon. Really flexing at the left hip and knee, option to bring the left forearm to the left thigh. Be mindful of what feels good, what feels accessible. Draw the front ribs into the back body. Envision that iliopsoas crossing here. And then lower the right foot, rise, warrior two. Exhale, reverse your warrior, left arm over the ear. Inhale through center. And exhale, warrior variation. Bit of a transition here. Turning to the front of the mat, we'll slide the right leg through and sit on our butts. Opening the right knee out to the side like we did in our warm-up and pulse. Lifting, lowering that right leg. Feeling the arms take some weight so that the hip flexor can really have this concentrated load. 2 more. And keep turning to the right, coming into stag. This right hip externally rotates, left knee internal. And then walk the torso on the diagonal over the right knee. You might feel a stretch kind of before you would expect to. And this left half of the pelvis will be lifting off the mat. So take an inhale for length. Exhale, draw those scapula, shoulder blades together as you lower. Inhale, extend. Exhale, slightly draw in with those scapula. Inhale, extend. This last time, exhale, really pull the front ribs into the back. Don't let them spill onto your leg. Energetically, I mean. Inhale, lift, and we'll turn all the way to the left. Hands plant at the back of the mat, come into down dog. Big inhale. Exhale, let it go. Shake the head. And step the right foot forward. Lower the left knee. Option to keep those toes tucked or untucked. Inhale, rise. Palms come flat towards the back on the low diagonals. Bring a slight bend to those elbows. And then really, as we exhale, get a sense of a, not locked, but a really solidly placed rib cage. Inhale here. Exhale. Keep those ribs in. Draw the shoulder blades towards your spine. Hands move back a bit. Inhale, return. Exhale, drawing those shoulder blades towards the spine. They slightly elevate as well, so kind of lift a bit. Inhale, lower. Exhale, last time. Draw those shoulder blades towards the spine. Interlace those fingers at the sacrum. Keep the elbows bent. And then keep this open chest. Interlace the fingers in front of you. Punch the arms forward and draw the upper back in space. Let that head fall and squeeze the left glute. Ugh. Inhale, return to neutral, hands plant. Step it back, down dog. Now pause here for a moment, take an inhale. Exhale, release. This time, as you inhale, press the palms into the floor. Push away with those palms and feel your shoulders lift up to your ears, but keep the ribs drawn in towards the back. And release. Exhale, push. Ribs draw in towards your back, shrugging those shoulders. Inhale, release. Last time, exhale, push into the mat. Keep those elbows straight, shrug those shoulders up. Feel the lift in the pelvis and release. And now we go for our little walks, rising up on the toes. Tiptoe those feet forward as far as you can. Don't judge yourself. And walk it back to your down dog. Keep stepping forward. Do this in your time. But as you return to down dog, I really challenge you, don't let those front ribs dip or drop to the floor. They're going to want to. Walking forward and back. And really envisioning this coming from right at the hip crease. Picturing that spot. Last time we'll all meet in down dog. I'll give a second for us to settle. And then left foot steps forward as far as you can. Right foot steps forward. Inhale, lift, Tadasana. Hands to the pelvis. Other side here. Left leg abducts, reaching out to the left. Toes stay forward. Big inhale. Exhale, we squat as all that air comes out. Hands to thighs. Widen the ribs. Inhale, rise. Left leg out. Big inhale. Squat, exhale. Widen the ribs. Inhale, rise. Left leg out to the left. Exhale. Widen those ribs, getting this diaphragm release. Inhale, rise. Last time, left leg out to the left. Exhale. Widen the ribs. Inhale, release, and let the hands come to the floor. Left leg slides back. Standing L, standing split shape. Creasing into this right hip. Using that right hand maybe to check on neutral pelvis. And then really turn that left glute on as you pull the front of the rib cage into the back body. Feel that's a bit of opening for that front of the hip. And then keeping the right fingertips on the floor, we open the left side of the body up for a bent knee half moon. Flexing in this right hip, really bending the right knee. Option to bring right forearm to right thigh. You do not have to take that. Keep that gaze just under the nose here. Lengthen the tailbone towards the left heel. And then left foot lowers, rise for your warrior two. Inhale. Exhale. Right arm over the ear. Reverse your warrior. Inhale through center. Exhale, warrior variation. Left arm over the ear. Heading towards our little hip flexor pulse. Windmill to the, or turn to the back of the mat. Hands land. Slide this left foot through and we lower to our butts. Left knee opens, external rotation of that hip. And we pulse. Gentle lifts of this left leg. It doesn't feel very extreme usually, but it will start to pack a punch and it is such a good strengthener. It's one of those things that doesn't feel like a ton and then over time you get really, really strong, which is kind of unique, I think. And then we turn to the left, externally rotate the left hip, internal rotation right. We're in this stag and we walk the torso over in line with the left knee. Big inhale, lengthen the spine. That right half of the pelvis lifts off the mat. Exhale, bend the elbows slightly, draw the shoulder blades towards the spine. Inhale, extend. Exhale, sort of bending over this knee. Inhale, extend. Exhale, bend those elbows. Inhale, extend. And we'll turn to the right all the way around. Hands plant at the front of the mat. Lift into your down dog. Now we're going to have a moment of play here. Inhale, lift up on the toes. Exhale, keep that torso consolidated, bend the knees, and push off. Try to hop that pelvis up in the air, but envision it coming from the crease of the hip. So that area we just lit up. So let's just kind of reroute. So inhale, rise. Exhale, consolidate. Try a little push off. If not, you can just step the feet forward and inhale, rise, Tadasana. Coming into some sun sows. Exhale, hinge at the hips, hands plant, step back for plank. Lower those knees, lower all the way to the floor. Inhale, cobra, root that pubic bone. Glutes are super on. Exhale, down dog. Walk the feet in a touch. You're welcome to take this same option. Inhale, lift on the toes. Exhale, bend the knees. Try your hop or walk forward. Ooh. Inhale, rise. Exhale, hinge at the hips, hands plant. Step back for plank. Lower the knees, lower to the floor or lower halfway. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, down dog. Walk those feet in a touch. Big inhale, feel the lift. Envision that connection from back of the ribs to front of the hip. Bend those knees. Walk or hop forward. Inhale, lift. Exhale, hinge at the hips, hands plant. Last time here, step back for plank. Lower the knees or lower halfway. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, down dog. Big pause here. Huge inhale. Imagine that diaphragm really expanding. And exhale. We're heading to dolphin, so if you hate dolphin, you can always come down onto the knees. Otherwise, we'll lower the forearms. Maybe walk the feet in a bit more. And then left leg lifts if you'd like, three-legged dolphin. Drawing the ribs back into the shoulder blades. Bend that left knee. Externally rotate the hip. So left knee moves out to the left. Back to neutral. Externally rotate. Back to neutral. As I said, you can do this on your knees. And last time, externally rotate. Back to neutral. We're gonna swing this leg through so you can press into the palms, lift the elbows, left foot steps forward, rise, crescent lunge. Bring a slight bend into that right knee. Let's check in with our neutral pelvis here. Hands on the hips, getting a sense of what's going on. And then we'll interlace the fingers at the sacrum. Feel that chest opening again here. As you exhale, option to bring the right arm forward. Start to lower the right knee and twist to the left, doming that upper back. Inhale, return. Maybe interlace those fingers in a crescent lunge. So exhale, left knee, right knee gently lowers, right arm across to the left, and dome that upper back. Feel that stretch in the right hip. Inhale, rise, crescent. And if that lowering doesn't feel good, you leave it. Last time, exhale, right knee lowers, right arm punches across. Doming that upper back. And then inhale, we'll lift, open up to a goddess. So that right hip externally rotates. Let's bring the hands to heart center. Take a big inhale. Exhale, let it out through the mouth. And we're gonna move a little here. Let's start with the hands at the hips, I think. And we'll internally rotate the right hip, coming onto the right toes. So you're on kind of a shallow diagonal. Return to goddess. Left leg, internally rotate, neutral pelvis, kind of a crescent lunge. Back to goddess. Right leg internally rotates. Back to goddess. Left leg. So you're getting a little bit of a bounce up onto those toes. This last time, right leg internally rotates, right arm reaches up. Inhale, reach even more. Exhale, twist to the left from that deep center. Feel that in the front of the right hip. We'll turn to the back of the mat, hands plant, step back for plank, and lower to the floor. You can go through the knees. Bend that right knee. Bring a slight cobra to the chest. Press the right foot up towards the ceiling. Really anchor that pubic bone. And then right toes plant. Lift up onto the knees, half push up. And lower to the floor. Left leg bends. Press that foot up to the ceiling. Anchor that hip point. Left toes lower, up onto the knees. We push the floor away. Lower to the floor. We'll do one more each side. Right knee bends. Press it to the floor. Anchor the pubic bone. Really feel those glutes. Right toes lower to the knees and lower to the floor. Last time. Left knee bends, press that foot up, lengthen the low back, toes lower, press up onto the knees, and then bring the right knee under the hip, open for a modified side plank. You can fly the left arm, maybe fly the left leg, you don't have to. And then option here to bend the left knee, so like you were pressing on the wall behind you. And rather than move the foot, imagine you could draw the pelvic point forward. So this left pelvis moving towards the area in front of you. And then we'll bend, flex at the left hip, step the left foot forward, coming towards a low lunge, press into the foot, rise, right knee comes up, left arm punches up to the sky. Option to grab the right shin if this feels okay. If you have a neutral pelvis, draw using the arm, that thigh even closer to you. Again, it's not about a destination, so if this isn't serving you, leave it. And then without using the hand, try to let go, keep the thigh there. Return to modified side plank, right hand lands, right knee lands, maybe left leg lifts. You can also have that on the floor. Feel that right shoulder blade right on the back of the ribs. Step the left foot forward, weight into that left leg and rise. Left leg punches, right knee up. Option to pull the right leg towards you. Really feel that hip flexor light up and maybe let go with the hand, try to keep it there. Last time, right hand lands, right knee down, modified side plank. Feel this shoulder really stacked over the wrist. Left foot steps, you feel it in that glute. Rise, neutral pelvis first, left glutes on, punch that left arm up. Maybe draw the right thigh towards you. Again, this is a great option, keeping the right knee in more of a stork. And then lower the right foot. Let's all press the palms like we did in our low lunge, back on the low diagonal. Squeeze the glutes, and then imagine you could pull the ribs up in space. Feel a little lift in the legs. That was a lot on the hips. And inhale, arms lift. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Step back for down dog, and we'll just step straight there. Big inhale. Exhale, let it go. So we're moving back to our dolphin. If you want to head to dolphin, lower those forearms. I'm going to show in quadruped. So we're wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. And no matter what version you're doing, feel the ribs pulling into the back body. So we really get that nice lift and length in that iliopsoas connection, right in the middle of the back. It's either option, you can extend the right leg back, bend that right knee, and externally rotate the hip. Opening right knee to the right side. Return to neutral, we'll do two more. Externally rotate, don't let the ribs dip. They want to, they always want to. Return to neutral. Last time, externally rotate. Return to neutral. If you're in quadruped, pop through a down dog. We'll all step the right foot forward, rise, crescent lunge, slight bend in that left knee. Hands come to pelvis, finding that neutral here. And then big inhale, exhale, draw those shoulder blades on the back, interlace the hands at the sacrum. Optional bit of extra kind of hip opening. Exhale, we lower the left knee, punch the left arm across to the right, pull the upper back on the back diagonal towards the left. Weight into the left toes, right foot, inhale, lift. Return that hand. Exhale, left knee lowers, left arm punches. Dome that upper back. Inhale, rise. Use the pelvic floor to lift you there, or at least help. Last time, exhale. Left knee lowers. I really feel this in that left leg. Punching across. And we press into the feet, opening for goddess to the left. Externally rotate that left hip. Let's pause here, hands at heart center. Maybe get a moment of moving between these two sides. Kind of take your mind off of the challenge and be in this moment. Big inhale. We'll internally rotate the left hip. So we come towards that crescent, in line with the front foot, and open. So you're probably right side turns in. Not going to be facing perfectly front and back. And that doesn't really matter, it's fine. Left foot turns in. It's more about working with and open, our natural range. Right knee, right hip turns in. Open this last time. Turn the left hip, internal rotation. Right hand behind the pelvis. Left arm reaches up, up, up. And exhale, twist to the right. Open it up, windmill to the front of the mat. Hands plant, step back for plank. Feel that left leg really cooking. And we'll lower to the floor. Left knee bends. Turn the left glute on before you do anything. And then just press that foot up towards the ceiling. Toes lower. Press the hands into the floor. Lift the core first, up onto the knees. Lower to the floor. Right knee bends. Pressing through, up towards the ceiling. Lower those toes. Core lifts. Squeeze the glutes and we lift. Lower to the floor. Left knee bends, press it up. Toes lower. Core lifts first, lifting it up. Last time, lower to the floor. Right knee bends, pressing towards the ceiling. Squeeze that right glute. Toes lower. And we press up, this time drawing the left knee underneath the hip, opening for modified side plank. You can keep this right leg on the floor, feel the tailbone lengthening towards the heel, or you can lift the right leg, even bending it. Really squeezing the right glute to feel that opening in the hip. We all know what's coming. Right foot steps to the top of the mat, towards it at least. Press into that foot and we rise, left knee towards us, stork pose, right arm punches up to the ceiling. Option to bring the left hand, draw the left thigh towards you more. Use those hip flexors to hold it as you release with the hand. Left hand plants, modified side plank. Right foot's on the floor or flying. Right foot steps forward, weight into the foot and rise. Right arm punches, left knee up. You can stay here, feel the activity in the ribs, drawing towards the back, or you can give that extra lift. Hold as you release. Last time, modified side plank. Right leg reaching back. Exhale, that right foot steps forward, press into the foot and rise. Woo. Embracing any wiggles that happen. Option to draw left thigh towards you. Neutral pelvis, feel those hip flexors kick in, release. And then arms on the low diagonals, foot lowers. Press the glutes, almost like you could press them forward. And exhale, just wiggle it out for a sec. Maybe you windmill the arms or move one at a time. We're gonna head into our stream. Let me make sure I don't wanna show anything. I think we're good. We're gonna cut some stuff out from the original sequences, but nothing will be new, I don't think. All right. And of course, we'll have some, options to add on or change, but you take what feels good for you. We're doing okay on time, aiming for that bit of a longer Shavasana. Inhale, arms lift up. Exhale, hinge at the hips, hands plant, right foot steps back, lower the knee, top of the foot. Inhale, lift. Exhale, we'll bring the hands behind us, interlace those fingers, elbows bent, and see if this chest opening without popping the ribs, it feels a little bit more available. We're gonna head straight into it here. Hands plant, step back, down dog. Big inhale and exhale. This is a little bit different this time. Left foot steps forward, try to rise on one leg, right leg hovers as you come to stand. Abduct the right leg out to the right. Keeping the leg at this abducted angle, we open for our half moon. Just flying the right leg back towards the back of the mat. Maybe the left fingers come towards the floor. Right foot lowers, warrior two. Exhale, reverse your warrior, left arm over the ear. Inhale through center, and exhale, warrior variation. Turning to the front of the mat, hands plant, down dog. And we're gonna alternate with the other side. Right foot steps forward, rising, hover that left foot next to the right. Abducting the left leg out to the left, hold it there, and swivel on this right leg, open for your half moon. You can bring that forearm to the bent leg again, or you can have more of a full half moon. Both are like full expressions. I actually think bent is a little bit more challenging. Left foot lowers, warrior two. Exhale, right arm over the ear, reverse it. Inhale through center. Exhale, warrior variation. Turning to the front of the mat, we plant the hands, slide the left leg to meet the right, sit onto the butt. Left leg extends a bit out and open to the side, and we pulse. One. Weight in those hands. Can also be down on the forearms like we did at the start. Turn towards that left leg for our stag. Left hip externally rotates, right's internally rotated. And bend over that leg with the option to reach the right arm. I don't have a great room to show this, but reach the right arm in front of you, ideally directly in front of the shoulder. Keep lifting in the front ribs. You'll feel a little bit extra in the back of the left hip. Inhale, lift. We'll turn all the way to the right through our knees in quadruped. Open up into this right modified side plank. Right knee's down, left leg is extended, either on the floor or hovering. We step the left foot forward, weight into it. This time as the right leg moves up, we swing the right leg. Return to modified side plank or take a full side plank, keeping that right leg extended if you'd like. Left foot steps forward, weight into it. Option to swing the right leg. Return modified or full side plank. Vashisthasana. Left foot steps forward. Option, right leg swings. This time we'll catch it, open straight for goddess, over to the right side of the mat. Pause in your goddess here. We're not gonna do the internal rotation. We're just gonna feel. Feel this moment. Maybe move side to side. We'll turn to the front of the mat, hands plant, dolphin or quadruped. Bending this right knee. Pull the ribs into the shoulder blades and then circle the right hip. Keeping the ribs contained, reverse your direction there. Last time we press into the palms, or you lift through down dog. Step the right foot forward, left hand stays planted, open, twisted crescent. Right arm flies up. Option here, start to lower the left knee under the hip. You have a few options. You can lift, pressing this left half of the pelvis forward with the glute. You can keep that hand on the floor. You can reach back towards the left ankle or even grab the top of the left foot, but keep lifted in the pelvis. Almost that sense of Uddiyana Bandha, like pulling you up out of the floor. It's a nice stretch after a lot of hip flexion. And then release that foot. We'll ever so gently exhale, step the foot in. Inhale, rise. We got one more side to go. Oh, this feels good. I feel way more supple. Exhale, hinge at the hips, hands plant. Left foot steps back, lower the knee. Option to keep those toes tucked as you lift. Inhale. Interlace those hands at the back of the sacrum. Really squeeze that left glute, anchor it. Getting that opening in the chest. Ribs stay contained. So I think this is the hardest dynamic in postures: open chest, strong ribs. Luckily, we're moving on. Exhale, hands plant, step back, down dog. Big inhale. Exhale, let it go. Right foot steps forward, keep the hands planted, and then rise to stand, hover this left foot. Left leg abducts, pause at the top, turn for your half moon, right leg stays anchored. Squeeze those sits bones towards each other and get a micro bend in that right knee if you're in this more straight leg version. Left foot lowers, inhale, warrior two. Exhale, reverse. Right arm over the ear. Inhale through center. And exhale, warrior variation, right forearm to thigh. Turning to the mat, hands plant, step back, down dog. Big inhale. Pull that torso away from the floor. Exhale, left foot steps forward. Rise, hover that right leg. Oh, it's okay if you wiggle, if you fall. Right leg abducts out to the right. Pause at the top there. Feel that glute med anchoring you. Open for a half moon. Moving that right foot back in space. Almost like a modified side plank. Reaching that tailbone towards the right heel. Right toes lower, inhale, warrior two. Exhale, reverse. Left arm over the ear, let the head release. Inhale through center. Exhale, left forearm to thigh, warrior variation. Turning to the top of the mat, scoot that right leg forward, sit onto the butt, or get there in any way that's good. And then open the right hip, pulsing here. I have a lot more range in this moment because we've gotten hip mobility in a variety of ways, but we've called on this iliopsoas and these hip flexors to wake up in a, like that first sequence is really challenging on the hips. And then later, it really shows how much range has been opened. Turning to the right, stag pose, open this right hip, left hip internally rotates, and we walk it over the right knee. I'll show better on this side. Exhale, we can shift the torso forward, option to reach the left arm in front of the shoulder. Pull the front body into the back body, and you'll feel a lot there. Inhale, we'll all lift, turning to the left, all the way to the back of the mat for quadruped. Left knee under the hip, open for a modified side plank. Right leg will move back or up in the air. Exhale, right foot steps forward, weight into it, option to swing the left leg. You can also stick with stork. Return, modified side plank, or take a full side plank, making sure that left shoulder blade is really on the back. Right foot steps forward, weight into the foot. Embrace those wiggles. And return. Left hand lands. Your version of side plank. Right foot steps, left leg to stork or swing. And we open to goddess to the left side of the mat. Palms to heart center. And we side to side. Nice little sway. I was going to say like we're in the ocean, but that doesn't make much sense as an image. Nonetheless, you get the idea of a organic wave. Turn to the front of the mat, heading to dolphin or take a quadruped, lowering onto the knees or lower those forearms. Ribs pull into the back, bend the left knee, feel this openness of the hip. Mine almost feels like somebody got WD-40 in there. And switch directions. Keep pulling into the back body. Heading towards lizard with that left leg forward. We'll move through down dog or press into the palms, left foot steps. Open this left arm for twisted crescent. Right hand stays planted. You can let the head go. And then we'll lower that right knee under the hip. You've got options to rise, using that glute to open up the front of the hip here. You can even reach the right arm up. That's kind of that same long iliopsoas feeling. Alternatively, right hand can come to the mat. You can even reach back for the right foot with the left hand. Avoiding sagging into this shape, but really keeping strength in our stretch, a la the dance PT who blew my mind all those years ago. And if you've got that foot, let's release it. Top those right toes. Actually, we're moving to our back, so get there in any way that's comfortable. I'm going to slide my foot through and lower. You get there anyway. And we'll just recline. Got a little bit of a longer Shavasana here. Take a moment to circle the knees. Oh, you can feel the circling happening around your sacrum in one direction and then take it the other direction. And when you're ready, with a nice exhale, start to extend those legs one at a time towards Shavasana. As you land, take a big inhale, fill up this whole torso cavity, the thoracic, the whole shebang. And exhale, imagine yourself deflating, but getting heavier as you deflate and fall into the mat. Letting this movement sink in and the openness kind of fall into place. Feel free to mute your computer or your Zoom if you'd like to stay longer in Shavasana. But if you're ready to move, take a big inhale. Exhale, let it go. Draw one foot to the floor with the knee up and then the other, just like we started. And press those palms into the thigh. As you inhale, lengthen the spine. Feel a little bit of traction. Exhale, just release. Draw one knee towards you and then the other. And find your way to a comfortable seat. Take your time. Keep those eyes closed. And get there in any way that's good for you. We'll pause just briefly in this vertical seat, sensing if you feel a little bit more stacked in your spine, maybe a floating kind of feeling. Remembering that sometimes our obsession with the goal, with the end point, can actually cloud our experience in the moment. We might be reaching for the wrong thing. So kind of carrying this class as an endeavor in our lives to stay in the moment, in the process, not get so goal-oriented all the time. We'll bring our hands to heart center, take a big inhale. Exhale, let it go. Thank you so much for your presence and your energy. Here's to a wonderful week. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thanks, you guys. As always, I'll stick around if you have any questions. You've got my info in the chat, and I'll be back on Thursday for our 4:30 class. Hope you have a great week. See you soon.